Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 206. What happens in Tokyo shows up in the standings. I'm Nick. We have Harrison. How are we doing tonight, Harrison?
Awesome, Nick. How we doing?
Not too bad. Just still recovering from trying to, wake up early to watch those Tokyo games. So a little on the tired side this week, but it was sort of worth it. But we'll get into it.
Only
And
sort
then
of, I agree.
Yeah, so we'll get into it. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, TikTok, all the platforms. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find links to our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can click on this link and shop for any products on these websites, and we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. And it's just a way for you to support us. So please, if you are going to shop with these companies, use the links on the tops of our socials.
And we thank you. We thank everybody that has.
Yes.
And don't forget, baseball season's coming, lacrosse season's coming. Like, get your gear.
Yeah, we don't mention lacrosse on this podcast, Harrison. I'm sorry.
I know, but it exists. But
It does. Also, we have our Rounding Third merch. So please, you can find this on Rounding Third Baseball on Etsy. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts. We have a whole bunch of stuff on there. So go on, and that's just another great way to support us and also get our name out there. So please check that out and do some shopping. All right. Let's get into the Tokyo series here. So Harrison and I got up early. We jumped on live. We had a few people on with us, which was crazy, which was nice. But Dodgers sweep both games. Quick 2-game series. Game 1 takeaways. Dodgers win 4-1. Yamamoto looked pretty dang good. Allowed 1 run, 5 innings. He looked pretty sharp. 3 hits, 4 Ks, 1 walk. And equally on the other side, Imanaga had no hits through 4 innings. So the starters look good. Now, the Dodgers, did send Mookie Betts back to the U.S. because he was sick. Freddie Freeman was a late scratch. So he wasn't in the lineup. And that definitely changes that Dodgers lineup quite a bit. But we'll get into that more in depth after we kind of recap the games. But what was your kind of takeaway from Game 1 in Tokyo?
I think my takeaway from Game 1 was that I think as good as Yamamoto's stat line looks, he got away with a lot of mistakes. Threw a lot of balls down the middle that he was getting a lot of soft contact on. Credit to him because the stuff is good. But he was not sharp. Imanaga was even less sharp. Bunch of walks. Yes, no hits. Stuff is great. But neither one of them looked sharp. First outing of the season, probably not a huge surprise, but I was a little bit underwhelmed by what we got from them. Both offenses definitely still look like they're in spring training mode. Yes. But that Dodgers lineup minus Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman is pretty anemic. And the Cubs lineup was not impressive. And they weren't impressive in Game 2 either. Like they've got to sort some things out with the way the lineup is set. They've got some holes throughout it that I did not think were going to be as obvious as they proved to be for the first 2 games. Again, early. Yeah. But I thought it was a good game. It was a close game, highly contested game. It was definitely fun to watch. But it definitely had me feeling like I was watching a spring training game and not a regular season game.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but that's always seems to be like the first couple weeks of the season anyways, or the pitchers are like a step ahead of the hitters. And then the hitters finally get their timing and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely agree with that assessment. All right, so then Game 2, Dodgers win 6-3. Sasaki, I got up and watched this because I wanted to see this kid's debut. I mean, we've seen him in the WBC. A couple more years underneath his belt in professional ball. He comes over to MLB. His stuff is absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
However, he doesn't really know where it's going yet. And
yeah,
he throws hard enough that he can get away with it. Throws 103. Fastball control was kind of all over the place. But his split finger fastball / forkball, whatever you want to call it, has ridiculous break on it. They were talking on the telecast about Dave Roberts was telling them that he throws the forkball pretty much right down the middle. He just throws it. He doesn't try to throw it to a location because it breaks down to the left, it breaks down to the right, it breaks straight down. Like Sasaki doesn't even know where it's going to go half the time. So it almost comes out of his hand like a knuckleball and then just kind of does its own thing. Where if you've ever thrown a forkball, that's kind of how it comes out. It comes out with a little bit of top spin on it, which gets the downward break, but you just don't know which direction it's going to break.
Yeah, depending on which finger it comes off of more depends on what kind of side spin it gets and where it goes. But it's a wild pitch he throws. It is never the same thing twice.
No, and which makes it impossible to hit. But he's gonna rein it in. If he gets his fastball under control and he can pinpoint his fastball, no one's gonna be able to hit him because that splitter, forkball, whatever it is going to be devastating. But yeah, 3 innings pitched, 1 run, 1 hit, 3 Ks,
5 walks,
5 walks. Yeah, and a lot of pitches, obviously, with the 5 walks. But he's gonna be good. He is. He's got great stuff. He's gonna settle in. And listen, like they're in Japan, right? They're in their home country. So a lot of nerves, a lot of juices flowing, a lot of adrenaline, like you tend to overthrow when you're in those situations. First games of the year, all that, the emotional stuff can like make you overthrow and miss locations when you overthrow. So that could be part of it. Major league debut as well, like major league debut in your home country for a team like the Dodgers. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in your head. Has to.
Yeah, it's got to be chaotic.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's got a bright future. I mean, we'll see what he's got, but he's young. He's gonna get fine tuned. Mark Pryor's gonna have him hitting spots, and Sasaki's gonna be, I think, disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't rein this in, it's going to be a long season for him. And I mean, my biggest takeaway from this game was Sasaki has incredible stuff. He has an arm injury waiting to happen with the whip he gets on that arm. It looks like it's going to break off. I don't even know how he gets that much whip.
Yeah.
But he is erratic. He has no idea where anything is going.
Yeah.
Which 5 walks in 3 innings against a better team will hurt you.
Oh, absolutely.
The Cubs were up there flailing.
Yeah.
I was as somebody who just picked the Cubs to win the Central Division on Monday night, watching those 2 games has me going, wow, where did I get this one wrong? Because they looked awful. Justin Steele looked awful. The lineup looked awful in 2 games. I know it's early, but those were very ugly debuts for the Cubs.
Agree. Kershaw isn't back until mid-season? I think he's slated back, and then
I think July.
Yeah, and then Ohtani's slated to possibly start pitching in May. So, that's for Hala. Justin Steele, 5 runs on 4 hits. Just wasn't sharp. Gave up a couple bombs. Edman was the first one to go deep in the 2025 Major League season. Followed up by Kike Hernandez, who always hits in big spots that do. It's crazy what he does. And then Ohtani, let's get into this one a little bit. Ohtani goes deep, hits a deep drive, right center field. Initially, call it a home run on the field, right? I think it was a home run on the field. They go to the review. The call stands, which is important because if they called it a ground rule double or fan interference and then go to the review and the call stands, if there's not enough evidence to overturn it either way, then the call stands. They're not going to not have Ohtani hit a home run in Japan, right? I mean, they wouldn't have called that one back, even if it was. Correct?
No, I mean, the story's too good. I mean, I've watched the replay probably 7 or 8 times, and it is so blatantly fan interference. I mean, the fan is clearly over the wall when they touch the ball. The ball is not going to make it out. It was going to be a wall scraper, but the story is too good. And I have to imagine when they went to the replay, like the booth is saying, like, just let it go. Like, just give it to him. We need this. Like, we need that.
Right.
We need this headline. We need Sasaki getting a win. which he didn't because he didn't go 3. He didn't go 5 innings. We need Yamamoto. We need Ohtani. Like we need the Japanese guys to shine out. Like let it go.
Yep. Oh, from Arkansas. Nice. Welcome to the
Nice.
show, bud. We really appreciate
welcome.
it. Yeah, it's really cool. Anything you want to talk about is on the table. So
throw it in the chat.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it was a home run. I'm not trying to be biased there, but like you said, they're not gonna not give Ohtani the home run. So
and it didn't change the outcome of the game. Like
no,
they didn't win because of it. So it's one of those like I'm fine with it being a home run. It clearly wasn't from replay. I mean, there's no way they could have missed that in the booth. But I'm fine with it.
Yep. All right, let's get to the overall questions from the series. So, with Betts and Freeman out of this lineup, are the Dodgers vulnerable if they suffer a key injury this year? Let's start with that one.
I mean, I've been saying it for the last couple of months. Like when you get outside of the top 3 or 4 in that order, that bottom of the order is not scary. Now, guys like Edman and Kike and they will contribute from time to time, but you can't. That team goes as far as the top 3 guys go. If those guys all go 0 for 3, that team's going to struggle. They're going to lose that night because there's not a lot of depth behind him. Teoscar, he'll be great in stretches, then he'll be quiet. You don't have those consistent guys kind of following up behind the order. It's a bunch of wild cards. It's Teoscar, it's Rojas, it's Kike, it's Muncy. Like it's these guys who are just consistently inconsistent. And those top 3 are going to drive it.
Well, look at that playoff run they had a couple of years ago when, they lost. Like Freeman and Betts were 0 for 11 in the playoff series.
Yeah.
And, the Dodgers couldn't come through. So, I agree. I mean, as good as the top 5 are, and listen, we said it, they got 5 future Hall of Famers on their team. If one of them goes down, it's a big hole that Dodgers have to fill. So I think if they are vulnerable, it is in the bottom half of the lineup, like you said. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah, and I think they are still clearly the best team in baseball. Like that's not even up for debate.
Right.
That is the best lineup in baseball. 3 months ago we were like, geez, can this team win 120 games? And I think now that we've seen it, it's like, no, this team's going to win 100 to 105 and then go into the playoffs and have to fight. They're not just going to roll through like we thought they would based on what we saw. Now, granted, there's a lot to still happen here,
right.
But the NL has gotten so much better around them that, the Cubs are better, although they didn't show it. The Braves are healthy. The Phillies are better. The Mets are better. The D-backs are better. Like they're going to see better teams overall in their own league this year. That's going to play a part.
Yeah. And I mean, we're not trying to jump to conclusions because we get it. Like it's the first 2 games of the year. Like we said, still look kind of like spring training out there. We get it. I mean, Dodgers are on pace to go 162-0. So who are we? Like, I mean, like you said, they are clearly the best team in baseball. And to follow that up, will the pitching and bullpen carry the Dodgers?
I think more often than not, yes. I think that lineup can be shut down by good pitching. I think that lineup is going to have plenty of off nights, but I think that pitching and that bullpen are so far above and beyond the rest of the league that they can live on that.
Yeah.
The pitching and bullpen is going to offset any weakness in their lineup because it's going to be really hard to score runs against them.
Yeah, but I mean, like you think about even in game 1, I think we were talking about it. Like the Cubs gave them another opportunity and Dodgers capitalized. Like good teams will make you pay. And the Dodgers didn't tear the cover off in game 1 and they still put up 4 runs. I mean, there's other teams in there. It's like if you have a horrendous day at the plate, like you're getting shut out. Like the Dodgers can still figure out a way to score runs. And I think that's what makes them so good and so elite is that they might have an off day at the dish and their off day still has 4 runs on the scoreboard. Like that's scary. That's the scary part of them.
Yeah, I think as much as guys like Kike and Edman and Muncy and as much as those guys aren't going to like carry you, if you keep giving them chances, those guys are professional hitters and they will eventually hurt you.
Absolutely.
They're not going to go out and hit a bunch of home runs to put runs on the board, but if you keep making mistakes, they will get that base hit that brings in 2 that breaks your back.
Yeah. So are the Dodgers as good as expected?
I mean, I think it depends on what your expectation was. Is the expectation of a month ago or 2 months ago where they're gonna go win 120 games, or is the expectations we've seen lately where a lot of people are saying this is a 100-ish win team? I think if you're thinking about what we thought they were a couple months ago, no, they are not that team. But I do think they are still very much the best team in baseball.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think it's close.
Yeah,
I mean,
but this is not a 120 win juggernaut like we thought they were.
yeah. I mean, I still think they could. If their pitching settles in and they find a rotation that works and sticks,
Yeah.
their starters only have to go 4 innings, really, because they have 18 closers on their roster.
Well, I mean, Sasaki
It's,
went 3 innings pitched, gave up 5 hits, and they still won that game. I mean, it gave up
yeah,
5 walks. They still won that game. Like most teams lose that game when a guy
Blake,
starts off like that.
right. Blake Trinan came in the fourth or the fifth, and it's like he's 29 teams closer, 29 other teams. He's their closer, and he's coming in the fifth. It's crazy. I think their bullpen is elite. They're gonna shut teams down, and when you have that bullpen that shuts teams down, and that lineup comes back out and keeps you in ball games, like they could easily win 120. This could be the best team that we've ever seen play in our lifetime, maybe even ever.
Yep.
On paper, it sure looks that way, but
Yep. And they certainly can do it, but they're going to have to play a lot better than they did in Tokyo to be able to run the table like that.
yeah. And once they get home, they get settled. They get into the Chavez Ravine and get into their daily routines. Like this Dodgers team is going to be a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
They just got to stay healthy for sure.
Yeah, there's too much talent to keep playing that way, and not having Betts and Freeman that's a big deal. But you still scored 10 runs over 2 games without those 2 guys in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you here, John. Like I agree. I mean, we're just talking about it. Like they looked. I mean, both teams, like hitters, were still trying to find timing, and you could tell.
Yeah, it looked like a spring training game, not a regular season game.
Yeah. All right. So on the flip side, what does this mean for the Cubs? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit a while ago, but what are your thoughts on the Cubs going forward here?
I mean, for the Cubs, who were being very much hyped as a rebuilt team that was going to be better, and I bought it. I bought the story. I liked the roster, but I did not like what I saw on the field. Defensively, they were a mess. There was so little solid contact, a bunch of flailing, a lot of guys swinging stuff way out of the zone. The pitching wasn't great. As good as Imanaga was, he still walked 4 guys. Like he was erratic. If I'm the Cubs or a Cubs fan, I'm leaving Tokyo feeling like, what the hell did we get wrong this spring? Because that is not the kind of baseball we want to play.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful if I'm the Cubs, I'm thankful I've got another week to figure it out.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay. Like I said, it's like 2 games. It's too early to panic, right? We're not hitting the panic button. I mean, as us Red Sox fans are used to hitting the panic button after opening day. It's these 2 games are such an anomaly and it's an awesome experience that both teams get to experience. But it is too early to hit the panic button. I think this is actually good for both teams because, like you said, they have a week that they can go back and kind of go back to the drawing board and be like, all right, we need to tighten this up. We need to fix this. Maybe try this player here, this player here. They can kind of flip-flop their lineup if they need to. But I don't think it's panic mode for the Cubs yet. Same thing. They'll get home. They'll get back to Wrigley. They'll get in the routine, and they'll be okay. In a Central Division that arguably has 3 teams in it, because I'm not counting the Pirates and Cardinals in that division. I think it's a 3-team race, and that's it. So Cubs could play, 5 games above 500 all year and possibly sit at the top of that division. So, I mean, we'll see. But they definitely have some things that they need to work on for sure.
Yeah, I mean they've got time. It was not a great showing. You can chalk it up to a lot of different things, but thankfully for them, they've got a week to go back to spring training and figure out what happened, get it behind them, puke it out, and move on.
Yeah.
Because it in a moment so big, on a platform that was so big, to play so poorly, I have to believe that is going to piss off a lot of those players, and they're not going to let that happen again.
Yep.
Like, that was the single largest platform. Like, that was beyond, in terms of like viewership. You had 25 million Japanese people tuning into those games.
Yeah.
You just had the whole world watching, and you played like a AAA team.
Yeah.
Like, that's tough.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get to the other things that have happened this week. So Carlos Rodon is going to get the opening day start for the Yankees. This was kind of a little bit of a shock for me. Is this to take the pressure off Fried, or is it a loyalty thing because he's been a Yankee?
I think it's maybe option C too. I think it's just the way the schedule lines up. Aaron Boone keeps talking about the way that these guys have been scheduled and sequenced, and he doesn't want to change it. I think there's also some concern with throwing Fried right out there in Garrett Cole's absence. Rodon has not been a great pitcher for the Yankees. I don't think this is the opening day starter that you want, but I think this is the opening day starter that you're getting because of the circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you want Fried going out, making an opening day start in his Yankee debut, and then, if he happens to lay an egg, then Yankees fans are just like, oh God, now what? Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And for Rodon, I don't think there's super high expectations from him anyways, so it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, Fried looked excellent the other day. He looked incredible, and I think he's going to be really good for the Yankees. I just think that the timing doesn't work for me to be the opening day starter. Rodon gets the nod. I don't think it means anything. I think it's just how the chips fell.
Yeah, I agree. John says, Lou Piniella said, everyone who wins 50 loses 50. It's what you do with the 60 games in between that defines your season. Yeah. I mean, it's facts.
I mean, now I would say Lou Piniella, that used to be true until you met the White Sox. But
you can barely win 40. All right. Clay Holmes gets the opening day nod for the Mets. I honestly didn't see this one coming down the pipe here because with Manaea back on the roster, oh my goodness gracious, Boston just came out there. My bad.
That or Jamaican, one or the other.
Wow. Yeah. So with Manaea back on the roster and Kodai Senga there, I was shocked when they released this one.
Again, not the opening day starter that anybody expected or wanted. I think this one just worked out this way. I think they want to give Manaea a little extra time, just to make sure he's fully clear of it. I think Senga's in the same boat. Give him a little extra time. And I mean, Clay Holmes, for everything he's done, he's looked great. I mean, granted, it's still spring training and you're facing a lot of minor leaguers. We'll see what it looks like when he faces a real major league lineup, but he's looked good.
Yes.
And we may be eating some crow on him as a starting pitcher because we were like, what are you guys doing? Yeah. I do think this is also a bit of a reality check for the state of the Mets that Clay Holmes is your opening day starter.
Yep, I agree fully with that. I mean, we talked about it with Sean on Sunday, was, the starting pitching is the huge question mark for the Mets. What are you going to get out of them? And even if Clay Holmes has a great season, right? You have him, Senga, and Manaea. Do you rely on Peterson to carry you in game 4? I don't even know. What do you got? Griffin Canning in game 5.
Or McGill. I don't think they've decided who's going to be the 5 starter yet. But yeah, I mean, you're looking at Clay Holmes, unproven. Manaea, I wouldn't say he's proven, but he's not unproven.
Yep.
Senga, you still don't know what you have there because you haven't seen enough of him. And then guys at the back end of that rotation that you're kind of like, I don't know who these guys are either. So you're lacking any really known quantity in your starting rotation. It's a bunch of guys you think could be good.
Yeah, which isn't exactly what you want. Like you just spent all that money on Soto. You brought Pete Alonso back. Your lineup's gonna put up runs. I know that lineup will put up runs.
Yeah, they're going to score runs for sure. There's no way they don't.
But can they prevent them? I don't know. I
and,
really don't.
And John, 13 to 15 wins I think that would be a huge season for Clay Holmes.
Oh, massive.
That'd be huge. If he can get, more than 10, I think the Mets would see that as a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the Mets are a team, they're going to score runs. The question is going to be, can their pitching prevent enough runs? I don't know. But you've got a $340 million payroll, and that's your pitching staff. Like, you can see where they spent their money. It's not on pitching.
Right. It's on one guy.
It's a lot of it's on one guy. Really, I mean, between Soto and Alonso, that's what, $90 million?
Yeah.
Those guys better go out and carry this team.
Yep. All right.
Because they're going to have to.
Yep, absolutely. Patrick Corbin to the Rangers here. 1 year, $1.1 million. I think this is a good depth move for the Rangers. Now, Patrick Corbin is what at this point? I don't know. Like, pretty good in 19 for the Nationals when they were on that run. What is Patrick Corbin now? I don't know. But you add him to a Rangers team that, again, health is the biggest issue with them. If they can stay healthy, adding him to this rotation, pitching staff, however you want to use him. I don't know if they're going to start him or use him out of the bullpen. I think it's a good move for the Rangers. What are your thoughts on Corbin?
It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for you. I mean, Patrick Corbin the last 4 years has made 31 starts, 31 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts. He's lost 63 games.
Yeah.
He's had his lowest ERA has been 5.20. Gives up too many hits, walks too many guys, doesn't strike really anybody out anymore. He is a shell of himself. This is a guy that was, he was the number 2 to Strasburg. And he is an absolute shell of himself.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you think maybe Mike Maddox can work some magic here and figure something out with him, but he's nothing more than a depth move. If somebody gets hurt, maybe he gets a shot, but I don't suspect he's anywhere other than AAA waiting in case something catastrophic happens.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean,
I was shocked to see him signed. I thought for sure he was done.
Yep. Same. But
yeah. And John, this for 1.1 million, you could spend money on worse things. And if you can resurrect anything from his past, if Mike Maddox can get that done, you never know. And yeah, I mean, Corbin was on a prove it deal last year too, technically, and he was 6-13 with a 5.62 ERA. I think that's who he is now. Yeah. He is not he's not anything more than a borderline 5-star. He's a 4A player. He's probably too good for AAA, not good enough for the major leagues anymore. He's been seriously limited by injuries, and this is all you got left.
Yep.
Not to mention the fact he's also turns 36 in July. I mean,
that doesn't help.
I mean, he's been around for a while.
Yeah. All right. Jose Trevino signs a 3-year, $15 million extension with the Reds. So Trevino gets traded to the Reds in the offseason. The Reds extend him here. Does his presence behind the dish what does it do for this pitching staff?
I think Trevino defensively is not a great catcher. He's a great framer and a great caller of a game. Doesn't have a great arm. We watched him get exploited real bad by the Red Sox when they stole eight bases against him. Yeah. Ran all over him. But I think what he does is he's a great framer of the baseball. He calls a good game. Pitchers like to throw to him, so I think he'll give those pitchers a great target and a lot of comfort out there. what he lacks in his ability to throw runs out, maybe he can help these guys pitch better, and there's fewer base runners to throw out. Offensively, he's your typical catcher. He's going to hit 220 and lose a couple balls, and he's going to give you a little bit. But when you look around the league at catchers, I think he's one of the better overall, because he is so good behind the plate. Just has his limitations, but I think for a young, inexperienced staff, throwing to a guy who's going to make them look good and is going to call a good game will be a massive confidence boost.
Yeah, I think this is the first step that the Reds need to improve that pitching staff. Now, I've been on record saying the Reds pitching staff needs to stay healthy, but they're also really young. I mean, Hunter Green's probably your oldest guy on the staff, or is Brady Singer? Maybe that they're about the same age.
Nick Martinez has got to be the oldest guy.
Oh,
right?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But then everybody else is like in their mid-20s.
Yeah, you got Williamson, you got Lodolo. you just go down the line; they're all young. But I mean, I think the Reds are going to be all right. Hunter Green,
yep.
You got Brady Singer in that deal with the Royals. Lodolo is going to hopefully stay healthy. Williamson looked good in stretches last year, and the Reds are young overall. And Francona there is a huge step in the right direction for that franchise, and I hope they can get over the hump. Having a backstop that is there day in and day out, he's going to be there, I think is huge for any team, not just the Reds, just any team. You look at any successful franchise over a stretch of time, what was the one constant? The guy behind the dish.
Yep.
Right? Controlling the game, controlling every aspect of the game, right? The Cardinals, Yadier Molina. The Red Sox, Jason Varitek. Hell, the Yankees, Jorge Posada, right? I mean, you can just go down the list. So I think this is a good move for the Reds. I agree with you. Is he in the top tier of catchers in the game? No, he's not. But having him there day in and day out helps this team tremendously.
Yeah, and a guy like Jason Varitek's a great example. Varitek did not have the best track record throwing runners out, but he was a great receiver of the baseball, called a great game. The pitching staff trusted him implicitly. Like the pitching staff, he said it, they believed it, and he had control of that field. Trevino does a lot of that and does a lot of that well. As much crap as he got for Yankees fans, he did a lot for that pitching staff. They never got credit for.
Yep.
And I think the Reds are okay with a guy who's not going to throw out a ton of base runners. He's going to throw some out. He's got a good arm. He doesn't have the best pop timer arm in the league, but it's good enough. He's going to throw guys out. But more importantly, he's going to just stabilize that pitching staff and give them comfort and confidence when they step on the mound. That's worth more than any of the other stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like we don't even care if catchers throw out runners anymore, right? With the pitch clock, runners getting the jumps that they can get now. Like it's almost a moot point if your catcher can throw or not. Does it help? Yes. I'm not saying it doesn't help if your catcher can throw, because it clearly does. But you need your pitching staff to also help you in the run game. If you have a pitching staff that doesn't help your catcher out in the run game, you have zero shot. I don't care if you have the best arm in the league. I don't care if you can throw 200 miles an hour. If your pitcher does not help you out in the run game, you're not throwing them out. You're just not.
Yeah. And the Yankees were not a great team in terms of delivering the ball quickly to the plate. Yeah. And a lot of that doesn't fall on Trevino. Now, did he have his own flaws? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do think Cincinnati will be a good fit for him. It's a quieter market, younger team. He's a more veteran presence. I think he's going to go a long way to helping that pitching staff stabilize. And I do think he's going to get some of the credit he probably deserved in New York that he didn't get, because you're going to see this pitching staff continue to make strides.
Yep. Fully agree. All right. Lance McCullers. This was a stat.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, that blew me away. Spring training start. So again, take it as you want, but 3 scoreless innings in his first start since the 2022 World Series. What does this mean for the Astros going forward? And does it change their season outlook at all? I know it's one guy, but if you can get McCullers back, and even if he's half the guy he was, what does this do for the Astros?
I mean, I think it certainly helps them stabilize that rotation. I mean, you've got questions about who's going to fill those holes and who's ready to fill those holes. If you can plug a veteran into one of those spots, there's certainly a higher level of comfort for the manager and the fan base too. That this is a guy who knows what he's doing. I don't think he dramatically changes the direction of this team. Maybe they're a couple of wins better. But I do think that having a veteran presence like him back to fill one of those holes is probably more valuable than we give it credit for.
Yeah, I mean, and if he comes back, like that's not a terrible Astros rotation. Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Ronel Blanco, and Lance McCullers. I mean, that's not terrible. That's just off the top of my head. They got to have another guy in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean they've got a number of arms kind of in camp vying for jobs, but I think this is a if nothing else, it's a great story to see him make his return.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't believe that it was 2022. That's wild. But yeah, good for him.
Yeah, and it's just amazing because he went for a flexor tendon, and then it flared up real bad last year, and so I mean, he lost 2 years on an injury that is like 6 to 9 months to come back from. Like it's wild what he went through.
Yeah. All right. On to the Braves now. Here we go. Craig Kimbrell signs a minor league deal with the Braves. Is this a farewell tour signing, or does he actually help this Braves bullpen? Or both?
I think he's a depth signing. He is you know who he is, you know what he can do. You've seen what he's at this point in his career. Could he come in and get some outs for you in the 6th or 7th inning of games? Probably still could. I don't think you need him in your bullpen right now, but as we know, something's going to happen, and you'll need a guy. He's certainly not in competition to be the closer. He's not going to be a high leverage guy. No. But if somebody gets hurt, he'll probably be the first guy they call because he knows what to do. And as rough as his last few years have been, he still has nights where he is unhittable.
Yeah.
And if you can just find enough of those nights, it doesn't hurt to have that guy around.
Yeah. I think part of it too is when he came up, there was only a handful of guys that were throwing 100 plus, right? Like he was an anomaly. He was blowing people away with that devastating curveball. And now over the length of his career, everybody is throwing 100 plus with crazy movement on their pitches. So Craig Kimbrell isn't any different than everybody else in the league now. When he was younger, he was. Yes, he was younger, probably had sharper stuff.
Yep.
But not everybody was doing what he was doing like they are now.
Yeah, he was at the front end of this transition to, kind of the power arm trend.
Yeah.
Where he is just like a lot of other guys. But what made him different was two things. I think it was that big sweeping slider that he has that can just drop people to their knees. But also the fact that, like, in tough situations, the guy was absolutely nails.
Yeah.
That he never got rattled. As a fan, like, you'd see things get rough, and you're like, why is this guy not like getting pissed off about it? Like, he was always so calm. And then he'd rally back with 2 Ks and get out of the inning. He was just so good in those situations because he never let it bother him. He just rolled with it. And when he'd blow a save, he'd walk off the mound just like he did when the game was over and they won. He just never let it get to him. And that's what made him so good. The stuff was great. Slider was great, but it was more his mental toughness. Like, he just never let it get to him.
Yep.
And he could rally the next day and look great again.
Yep. Fully agree.
Which has got to be the toughest part of the closer role. It's the pressure of, you got to get these last 3 outs. And if you don't, well, now you've ruined it for everybody and you've got to deal with that. But he was always good at coming back the next day and like it never happened.
Yep. To quote Ted Lasso, be a goldfish, right? They have a 10-second memory.
Yep.
Just be a goldfish.
Yeah. A short memory is good for a closer.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. To stay with the Braves, Alex Verdugo gets a job. 1 year, $1.5 million, and will start in the minors. Now, is he starting in the minors just as like his quote unquote spring training, and then they'll pull him up, or is this a minor league deal?
It is a minor league deal.
It is a minor league deal.
Yeah, so it is a true minor league deal. And I mean, obviously he'd have to start there anyways, given the timing of the signing, but it is a true minor league deal. They are signing him as insurance. They want to see what he's got. Obviously, you've already had the scare with Profar's wrist. You got Acuna at 90%, who's not due back until, May-ish. You've got question marks. And I think having a guy like Verdugo, who was on the World Series roster last year for the Yankees, kind of hanging out waiting, is not a bad thing. And even, I mean, as much as he didn't have a good season last year, like his numbers still weren't like so horrific you wouldn't consider playing him. I think it's a great depth move. Let him go to AAA. Let him go tear it apart. Prove that he can still do it. And when somebody gets hurt, up he comes.
I think he also fits in that Braves culture a lot better than he ever did in that Yankees culture.
Yeah, the Yankees culture is tough. He was always kind of the guy that walked to his own beat. He had his own way of doing things. He's got the tattoos. He's loud. He's brash. In Boston, it was okay because you could balance him out. In New York, I just think people found him annoying, and he couldn't be himself. Like he had to maintain that kind of Yankee aura, that mystique, which a lot of players will tell you they don't like doing, and that's why some players just don't want to go to New York. I think it was Vladimir Guerrero said it. Like, doesn't want to go to New York because that just doesn't work for him. The way they operate isn't his thing. It's not for everybody, and I think Verdugo needs to be able to kind of let it loose, and I think the Braves will let him because that veteran group will rein him back in if he gets out of control.
Yeah. So my thing is, you have a team like, sorry, John, the Mariners, right? Alex Verdugo hit 233 last year. Again, not lighting the world on fire, but he would have had the second highest average on the team.
Yep.
Why wouldn't the Mariners take a shot? And $1.5 million?
Yeah, do the Mariners not have 1.5 million? Like you can't find that money. We said it a month ago, like the Mariners should be going on the list right now, calling JD Martinez, Alex Verdugo, calling all the guys still out there going, hey, what's your number? If you could get JD Martinez for $7 million, Alex Verdugo for $1.5 million, all of a sudden for less than $10 million, you got two legitimate hitters in your lineup.
Yeah, legit. Why wouldn't the Mariners take a flyer on JD Martinez? He is still a professional hitter. And the dude's going to hit you 260, 18 to 20 home runs and give you professional at-bats. I don't understand that. I mean, he is getting up in age now, right? He's got to be 37. Is he around the Paul Goldschmidt age, I would imagine?
JD? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe it's that. And maybe the Mariners have other plans that we just don't know about, but I don't know. For them to just sit back and do nothing with that pitching staff is absolutely mind-numbing to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, the Mariners are supposed to have they got a payroll of $146 million next year. They're going to be in the bottom half of the league. They clearly are not making any sort of effort and investment to build this team because right now you could be literally shopping the bargain aisle, picking up guys like JD and Verdugo. You could have grabbed a guy like Justin Turner and brought him back, although we know why he didn't want to come back because they had no plan.
Right.
But like if you brought back Verdugo, Martinez, and Justin Turner, like Turner might have been like, oh, okay, like I'll come back. Like that sounds good.
Right.
But that lineup is so bad and the Mariners continue to do nothing. It's like, what are you doing in Seattle? Do you really not have any money for payroll? Like, is that where you're at as a franchise? It's horrifying.
If this was a year for them to win the West, it's this year. Like we keep talking about it. Every team has a major flaw going into the season. Rangers can't stay healthy. We don't know what the Astros are. The A's don't have a ballpark. We're not sure what they're, you know what I mean? Like the Angels are the Angels. I don't know what they're doing. They're just sitting on their hands and they're happy watching these 5 Cy Young caliber starters go out every day and lose 1-0. Well, I don't understand it.
And not to just pile on the Mariners, but like, where the hell are the Pirates? Where are the, name a bunch of teams. Where are teams like the Rays? Where are the Blue Jays? Like, is this guy really? Was it really just the Braves and a minor league deal for 1.5 million?
That's
Like
it.
nobody else was like, hey, let's give this guy a shot for
Yeah.
short money.
Yeah. Don't understand it.
I mean, it's not as much as we pound on the Mariners because it's easy. There's so many teams. Where are
Oh,
the A's? Where are the Angels? Like, don't tell me you couldn't use a guy like this.
right.
I think there are so many teams right now in the league that are just like laying down saying, yeah, we're good, but we're not even trying to win, and that's okay.
Yeah. Unless there's behind the scene off the field stuff that we don't know about, which is kind of why he got shipped out of Boston was, there was some sort of beef there and they're like, well, this isn't working. So bye. Maybe there was something behind the scenes with the Yankees too. And now other clubs are seeing it. Like, I don't know. We're not in the clubhouse. This is just us speculating. So I don't know. But for 1.5 million, I'm taking a flyer on him for sure. He gives you professional at bats. Like, yeah, he doesn't always come through, but like he's not an easy out either. Like he works the count.
Yeah, he puts in some good at bats. I think that is the one thing he doesn't get enough credit for is the fact that like there's no like throwaway at bats. He grinds them out.
Yeah. So John, it's funny that you say you miss Nintendo. I don't know if you saw it, but they're wearing the Nintendo sponsorship on their sleeves this year. So
I had to laugh when I saw that.
you're gonna get them back. But all right. Speaking of wearing stuff on the jerseys, so we have been talking about the Paul Skenes 1/1 card with the debut patch on the card, which makes it a 1/1 because that's the patch that he wears on his jersey for the debut, and then it goes to Topps, and it goes into a card. And the kids, I don't even know what that money's up for, but Topps and Fanatics have partnered, and they're going to debut gold patches for the 6 previous award winners. So that's Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP. They'll wear them on their jerseys, and at the end of the season, they'll go into packs. And we talk about 1/1 cards. Holy smokes. These are going to start at 1 million.
Like these are going to be nuts.
You're telling me a 1/1 card of Shohei Ohtani autographed MVP card? Get out of here with that.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. People are going to be fighting in the aisles for packs to try to get these cards. And it's really cool, what they're doing with the gold patches and, and all the other things they've done too, the rookie patches and all the other things they've been doing to try to like bring some excitement and jack up the collectibles market. But like the whole baseball card world has changed. What people are paying for packs of cards is absolutely insane.
This is the comment of the night so far. Wow, kiss my butt, Willy Wonka. Yeah, I mean,
we see your golden ticket and raise you the golden patch.
Like the money that's going to be thrown around when somebody pulls one of these cards is going to be ridiculous. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that Shohei Ohtani card goes for 1.5 million to start.
Yeah, it'll be insane. They're all going to be 1/1s. They're all going to be it's going to be bananas what they do with these.
All right. So I say whatever we make, Harrison, we just go and buy Topps cards in October.
I mean, yeah. Yep. I mean, it's us and everybody else. I mean, the card stores, like people like know the days they get deliveries and they're like waiting at the door to go in there and grab all the packs. Like the card world has changed. We used to like walk into the store, we'd buy our complete set for the year, bring them home, go through them.
Right.
Now people are spending an insane amount of money for a single pack of cards for just the chance to get one of these. It is wild what's happened to the trading card world.
Yeah. So pretty cool. All right. We'll stay on the uniform train. The Astros dropped their new City Connects. I like these better than the Space Cities because I think
so much better.
This is what we were asking for kind of with the City Connects, right? It's a little bit of who they were before, like their regular jerseys now, and a little bit of a flashback there with the star. Like,
yep.
I love that. The only thing I don't really care for is the hat. It's really, really close to the Arizona Diamondbacks A. Really close.
Yeah.
But it's still, I still like it overall. Like, this is what we were asking for when the first City Connects came out. And not just being like, oh God, what are these softball uniforms?
Yeah.
Minus a few. I really did like the Angels because it was classic. They didn't go over the top with it. There are a few that I liked originally, but I do really like these.
Yeah, I agree. This is what I was hoping we were going to get in City Connect. It was going to be some sort of connection to the city, the history of the team, not something like way crazy insane, but just kind of a cleaned up version of something that tied it all together. These look really good. I agree with the hat. Like the A is a little close to Arizona, but I like the star in the middle, so it's clearly not. Like they at least
Right.
were able to differentiate that. But I think, like, I look at this and I go, yeah, like that looks like a Major League Baseball uniform that's been kind of like jazzed up for a special event. It doesn't look like an obscene like promo shirt you'd sell in the merchandise catalog. Like
Right.
this is like a legitimate jersey you'd think you'd see on field.
Yeah. I mean, I would trade that hat out with the Ashos hat probably. Yeah, give me that Ashos hat.
Yeah, give me the Astros hat and the Titas.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think there's other teams that are coming out with others. We still haven't really seen the green Boston ones yet, right? And what they're gonna look like.
No, we haven't. Was it 8 this year that are coming out? They'd broken down who's got jerseys this year.
Yeah. All right. We are gonna now recap our parlay, and it was not a good first week for us. So we bet $5 to win 70. We bet Freddie Freeman 2 hits. Well, that went away before game 1 even started because he got scratched from the lineup. Kyle Tucker 2 bases. He didn't get that as either.
He didn't do anything.
Nope. And then we had Yamamoto at 6+ Ks. He got 4. So we were short there. So we are down $5 to start the season. We're not going to place a bet for this week because there's no games until next Thursday. But we will place a bet for the weekend next Thursday. So tune in for that, and the triple play parlay will be back.
Yeah, a clean sweep of losers to start off the season. Although, looking at the bets that were available, I'm not sure there were any that were going to win. I mean, there were not a lot of Ks from any one pitcher. There was not a lot of hits, not a lot of total bases. Like there wasn't a lot going on those first couple games.
No, and I mean, you couldn't bet Ohtani because he was negative.
Yeah, paid out
yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. So no thanks. All right. On to this segment.
All right, I like it. Oh, John's got a bet for us. Opening day, Logan Gilbert goes 7+ on the A's.
Logan Gilbert,
reasonable.
Disgusting. Yeah.
A guy who's clearly taken over as the number one.
Yes, agree.
All right, Nick. So we had a little fun with this a couple weeks ago. We're going to bring it back around again. So this is the segment we call Who Is That Guy? So in this segment, I'm going to give you some kind of hints of who it is. I'm going to show you a picture of the person, not blurred, not altered. And you've got to tell me who that is. Now, these are not like obvious guys. Some of them might be a little more obvious than others. They're designed to be kind of your second tier guys, a little more obscure. Just have a lot of fun seeing if we can guess who they are. So,
all right.
With that being said, Nick, let's go to the first one. So this player played for 13 seasons between 1993 and 2005. They played for the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the D-backs, the Pirates, the Angels, and the Braves. They were the 1994 Rookie of the Year, a one-time All-Star, won 2 Gold Gloves. They're best known for being arrested in 2017 on corruption charges from his time in politics. Nick, who is that guy?
That's Raul Mondesi, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Raul Mondesi. Career average of 273, 271 home runs, 860 RBIs, and a 29.5 WAR. He was the mayor of San Cristobal, where he's from 2010 to 2016. He got arrested in 2017 for corruption charges based on what had happened when he was the mayor, and he just got out last year.
Dang. Can you name his son?
Adalberto Mondesi, who
Adalberto.
who the Red Sox actually acquired at one point, and he went nowhere.
Yeah, he didn't play.
No.
No.
Who was in 7 or 8 years ago now, he was like a blue chip prospect and then never panned out.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude could run a 3.6 40.
man.
He was crazy fast.
I remember when the Sox got him, I was all excited to have somebody like a real burner at the top of the lineup, and he just could not play at the major league level. Couldn't do it.
No. All right.
All right. This next one played for 16 seasons between 1985 and 2000. Played for the Mets, Twins, Red Sox, and Cubs. 3-time All-Star, 2-time World Series winner. Best known for being second all-time in saves for the Twins. Nick, who is that guy?
Yo. I don't know. Let me look at the teams again.
So he's best known. So he was traded to the Red Sox at the 1995 trade deadline, and then immediately went and signed back with the Twins the following offseason. He was only in Boston for a few months. He was a starter for part of his career and then a closer for part of his career. Very good one.
I don't have the slightest clue. This one's killing me.
Initials are R.A. Oh, we got it in the chat.
Oh, yes.
Got it in the chat. Nice job, Richard.
Thank you.
This is Rick Aguilera.
Wow. Good
career record of 86 and 81, 3.57 ERA, 318 saves, and a 21.8 career WAR.
Wow.
Nice went back and forth between the bullpen and as being a starter early on in his career, then just stayed in the bullpen.
Nice work, Richard.
Yeah,
nice
love it. And John got Raul Mondesi, so we're off to a good start in chat.
Yep, good. They're beating me.
All right, and I should mention, in honor of the Dodgers and Cubs kicking off the regular season, these are all players that either played with the Dodgers or the Cubs at some point.
Oh, gotcha.
All right, next player. Played for 12 seasons between 2006 and 2017. Played only for the Dodgers. 2-time All-Star, 1-time Gold Glove, 1-time Silver Slugger. Best known for flipping off Dodgers fans during batting practice in May 2011 in the middle of a slump. Who is that guy?
Is it Andre Ethier?
It is absolutely Andre Ethier. Great pull, Nick. Yeah. I used to love watching him hit.
Yeah.
Andre Ethier, batting average 285 for his career, 162 for home runs, 687 RBIs, 21.5 career WAR.
Dang. Nice.
He was a good player for a stretch of years. He hit a real bad slump in 2011, and the fans were giving it to him in batting practice, and the pictures are legendary of him just flipping fans off.
Yeah.
Standing on the field, flipping them off.
Just from the clues alone, I was like, "Oh, this has Yasiel Puig written all over it." But I was like, "Nope." So, all right.
Yeah, the Puig, there'd be all kinds of good ones to give you, but it'd be so obvious who it was.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
All right, next player. Played for 12 seasons between 2000 and 2011. Played for the Cubs, Orioles, Reds, Nationals, Brewers, Blue Jays, Cardinals. Speedy outfielder with 218 career stolen bases. Best known for being drafted 3rd overall out of high school in 1998 and was eventually the #1 prospect in baseball by the end of 1999. So very highly touted prospect, Nick.
Okay.
So who is that guy?
Oh man. Is this Tuffy Rhodes?
No. Good guess though. He spent a big chunk of his career with the Cubs. We saw him a lot when he was with the Orioles.
Oh no.
He was the next big thing. Come on, chat. Bail him out. John thinks it's McLovin. It's not McLovin, but a good guess.
It is a good guess. I don't know. This is killing me. Because I watched a lot of Cubs then, too.
Yeah, speedy outfielder, played a lot of center field. Decent hitter at times. When he came up, he had a really great first couple of seasons, then really just faded.
It's not coming to me. I don't think I got this one.
Initials are CP.
All I can think is
Let's see if chat can get you.
all I think is Corey Patterson.
It is absolutely Corey
Is
Patterson.
it? Wow. I wouldn't have got it if you didn't give me the
Corey Patterson. Career average of 252, 118 home runs, 431 RBIs, and a 9.7 WAR. He was such a highly touted prospect and was an okay major leaguer, but had some moments.
Yeah. I never would have gotten that. That's crazy. Yep. Oh, John just got it.
John's got it. Nice job,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. Wow. Name I haven't heard in a long time.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. Here we go. Played for 14 seasons between 1988 and 2001. Played for the Dodgers, Red Sox, and Pirates. One-time All-Star, two-time top 5 Cy Young finisher. Best known for throwing a no-hitter and had an 18 strikeout game with the Dodgers. Who is that guy?
That's Ramon Martinez?
Yes, it is. It's Pedro's big brother, Ramon.
Nice.
Ramon Martinez. Career record of 135 and 88, 367 ERA, 1,427 strikeouts, 25.9 WAR. A good starting pitcher in his own right. Arm injuries later in his career really derailed him. And then obviously his brother hit the scene and people kind of forgot about Ramon.
Yeah.
But a good pitcher in his own right.
Yeah, absolutely. Dang.
All right, this is a fun one. I think this one you're gonna get like as soon as you see the picture, Nick. But we'll see. Played for 18 seasons between 1985 and 2002. Played for the Cubs twice, the Giants 3 times, the Pirates, the Indians, the Cardinals twice, and the Mets. Two-time All-Star, 212 stolen bases. Best known for having more opening day starts at shortstop for the Cubs than anyone since 1900. Nick, who is that guy?
That's Sean Dunston.
Shawan Dunston.
Shawan.
Absolutely. That's my favorite picture of him ever.
Yeah.
Just fully laid out, getting over the slide.
Like 4 feet in the air too.
Oh, yeah,
Completely parallel.
I had a picture. I had a picture of that in my room as a teenager. That was such a great play. Anyway, Shawan Dunston. Shawan. I always called him Shawan because it was cool.
Yeah.
Average of 269, 150 home runs on the dot, 668 RBIs, 212 stolen bases, 11.6 career WAR.
Yeah.
A guy who was just solid all around.
He was on those Cubs team. When I came home from school, it was Sean Dunston, Mark Grace, Ryan Sandberg, Sammy Sosa. Like he was on all those teams. Loved watching him play for sure.
Yeah, and such a valuable guy. And that's why he kept going. Like that's why the Giants brought him back 3 times. Like he always filled a hole.
Yep.
Yeah, and John agreed. It's such a classic picture. Like that's why I said I knew Nick would get because it's such a classic picture.
So good. With the flip glasses too.
Oh, yeah.
How come we haven't seen those anymore? How come nobody wears the flip glasses?
Do you know the name of those glasses?
Flip glasses.
They're the gargoyles.
The gargoyles.
They're the ones that Ken Griffey Jr. made popular. I had a pair in high school, man. They were awesome.
Yeah. Dude, my dumb ass I couldn't be able to work. I'd be sitting here trying to flip my hat down. Like
knock your hat off your head.
Yeah.
The other part I love about this picture is you've got Jason Kendall going in hard like he always did.
Yeah. Oh, Jason Kendall, another great one.
Love Kendall. He's too obvious for this segment, but you get that one in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, played for 15 seasons between 1990 and 2005. Played for the Dodgers, the Royals, the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Twins, the Phillies, and the Mets. 2-time All-Star, 1 in LA and 1 in Boston. He's best known for being banned for life from the Dominican Republic League for punching an umpire. And he was charged with assault, 2 counts of assault in the Independent League for charging him out with a bat in his hand and swinging it at both the catcher and the pitcher. Who is that guy?
I already knew who it was before I even saw the picture. This is Jose Offerman.
This is absolutely Jose Offerman.
Yep.
Jose Offerman average of 273, 57 home runs, 537 RBIs, 172 stolen bases, and a 17.1 WAR. Now, if you flip to the next one, Nick, these are actually the pictures of him charging the mound.
That's incredible.
So when he was playing in Bridgeport, Connecticut, they were playing against a team from Long Island in the Independent League, and he got hit by a pitch. But I want to say his name was Matt Bush, not a guy that played Major League Baseball. And he goes full out to the mound with the bat in his hand, and he's swinging. He caught the catcher in the head, gave him a concussion. He caught the pitcher in the hand and broke his finger, I want to say. He had to be he was mauled and taken down by several guys. He was charged with 2 counts. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of assault. I believe he paid a hefty fine and never played baseball anywhere ever again.
Wow.
And then he got banned for life from the Dominican League when he punched an umpire because he didn't agree with the call.
Yeah, well, umpire probably deserved it, but
anyways. Yeah, I mean a real grade A fruitcake. And I remember when the Red Sox signed him, that was such a terrible contract they gave him. He was so bad in Boston.
Yeah.
So bad.
Man, that's a great one.
But I had to include the pictures because this story you can't make up. I knew you'd know this one when I gave you the best known.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think I had it even before
you might have.
You got, but yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, the career path for him was pretty clear.
Yeah, dude, those are so great. I love those. Those are fun.
Oh, good time. I enjoy putting them together because I will just pick a random year and a random team. So it's like the 1997 Indians, and I'll just find somebody who's a little lesser known and grab them.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with the blurred picture trivia. Yep. I was asking my wife, I go, hey, give me a year between 1985 and turn. And she'd be like, all right, 2016. And I'm like, give me a baseball team. She's like the Celtics. I go, wrong sport.
Yeah.
No, but she knows her baseball teams. So
I bet she does because she probably hears plenty about it from you.
It's just osmosis. But yeah, she would give them one, and I do the same thing for the blurred trivia. So I loved it. But
yeah, it's fun to put them together.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I don't really have anything else this week. I mean, the Tokyo series is obviously kind of the big thing coming this week. Do you have anything else that you would like to bring up?
I do have one topic. So, because we love talking about the Rays so much, and the fact the new ballpark is off, repairs are still happening at Tropicana. But in the midst of all this, over the last kind of week or so, the Orlando group has picked up significant momentum. So the Orlando Dreamers group, as they call themselves, have picked up tremendous support across Florida now for moving baseball to Orlando. Yeah. And in the midst of all this, they've now identified land near SeaWorld for a multi-purpose stadium area. They've brought in a new investor, a new $1 billion investor that'll back a ballpark plan. Orlando is working to fast track any plans they have to be ready. And they're now kind of coming to MLB to say, hey, let's keep them in Florida, help us move them. But Orlando has picked up significant momentum in just the last week from all this Tampa Bay Rays news.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're in that Orlando group and you heard all that news drop, you shit your pants and you were like, oh God, this is happening. This is legit happening. And then you're going to do anything you can. So I don't blame them for fast tracking this. They're going to Orlando. I'm calling it right now. There's no way they stay in St. Pete at this point, right? There's no way.
I mean, MLB is committed to keeping the team in the kind of central coastal Florida area. They want to keep them in that corridor. I don't think they want to keep them in St. Pete because it doesn't work. Moving them to Tampa might be too difficult, but you go an hour and 20 minutes up the highway or over to Orlando, where you've got the airport, all the attractions, all the convention centers, so much traffic comes through that city. I think baseball would be bonkers there.
Yeah. I mean, everybody in the chat's with us. Richard's with us. John's with us. I think it's right. And it's an hour away. People will drive for baseball games. right?
Well,
They will.
I think what we've learned is in Tampa they won't. I think in Tampa they're not going to drive. So like I was down there a few weeks ago, and I actually went to see Tropicana Field, and I've got some videos that I'll put up on the page. But I went to the field, like, and that loop from Tampa through Clearwater and around to St. Pete, like it's a 35, 40-minute drive on a good day. You hit an accident or some traffic, now all of a sudden you're over an hour. People don't want to do that. Being in St. Petersburg, which you can see clearly across the bay. We went to a beach in southern Tampa by MacDill Air Force Base, and literally you're staring at St. Petersburg right across the water. It's right there, but it takes a friggin' hour to get to it, although it's right there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem is whether it's an hour to Orlando or an hour to St. Petersburg, the Tampa market's not coming for it.
No.
They're not making the drive. So ship it to Orlando, where you've got 300,000 people just in Orlando. You've got several million in the greater Orlando area. Like that market would take baseball.
Yeah.
Better than Tampa does.
Well, and not to mention, right, the families that go down there for vacation, right? I mean, your family goes to Disney a lot, a lot of families do. And they're looking for something to maybe do at night, like, yeah, I know you're probably exhausted from a day at Disney, but there might be families that are like, hey, we have a free night and this is a cheaper option for us to do is to go to a baseball game. Like, I don't think they'll have a problem drawing crowds.
No, the Orlando MSA is 3 million people that live there. There's millions more that come through there. Yeah, and Richard, you're right. I mean, having just been down there, I mean, we literally had to get a mile and a half back to our Airbnb, and it took freaking 45 minutes. Traffic is brutal in Orlando. But it's also brutal in Tampa. There's just so many. There's almost 3 million people in the greater Orlando area.
Yeah.
It's brutal, but I think people are just used to it. That's just it's what you do down there. But it's no different than in Tampa. And I think that they've found the Tampa fans aren't coming out. They're just not. So stop fighting it. Stop hoping something's going to change, and just move the team up the highway. Call it good.
Yeah, I mean, what was it a couple years ago when the Rays made the playoffs and they had less people in the stands for game one of the playoffs or the wild card game, whatever it was, than the A's had on opening day? Like that, and the A's didn't have anybody in the stands because it was already, the news was already breaking that they were moving, that they were out, and the Rays still couldn't get people in the ballpark for a playoff game.
Right.
I mean, that's horrendous.
And I've said this over and over again. When you're in Tampa, you're competing against the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa's not 110 degrees like Orlando is. Like you're on the coast. It's hot. It's mid to high 90s, but there's a breeze. You've got beaches, you got restaurants, you got all these things outdoor. Like we went to St. Petersburg and they got this incredible pier that's got like a little beach area and a splash pad and playgrounds, and they've got a little touch tank aquarium. Like it's all on the pier. Like you can literally grab dinner at the pier too. They got a restaurant and a bar. It's all designed for you to be outside. You go to Orlando, and in July and August, it's 106 degrees with a bajillion% humidity. You want to go inside.
Right.
Tampa, they want to be outside. They want to be outside. And they want to go do something. In Orlando, you're running like hell from the heat.
Yeah.
Same with Miami. Like Miami and Tampa, you're not going to draw fans because you're competing against a lifestyle that doesn't make people want to go into a ballpark. Whereas Orlando, you're happy to go inside for some AC for 3 hours.
So I want this move to happen because selfishly, they get taken out of the expansion talks, right?
Yeah, they do.
Which leaves Raleigh as an option for an expansion. I mean, listen, there's still 6 to 8 other cities that want it. I think Raleigh's lower on the list there, but you got, Nashville, Portland, Oklahoma City has come up, Salt Lake City has come up, Vancouver has come up. So like it's just another step possibly that we could see baseball here in North Carolina. Whether that happens or not, I'm not too hopeful. I mean, I'm hopeful, but I don't think I'm too optimistic about it. But it takes Orlando out of the expansion talks and gives baseball to 2 other cities other than Orlando, which I like.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and Richard, it's a good point. Houston's right there in Kissimmee. I wonder if the Dreamers go back to the Wide World of Sports like the Braves used to at Disney and take that over. Because those facilities, the Wide World of Sports, are incredible.
yeah.
But I don't I don't know. Otherwise, yeah, you're up in Sanford by the other airport, or having to shag a little further outside of Orlando.
Yeah.
But
Dang.
I think Orlando's a market that would do well with baseball. I think people. I mean, the Magic, they pull well. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers pull well, but again, like they're right in Tampa, just like Steinbrenner Field. They're right down the street from each other off Dale Maybury Highway. Like you're right in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then Amalie Arena is a few miles away, further into downtown. But I think that the Tampa doesn't work. They need to just admit the fact it doesn't work. It's never going to work. People aren't going to change. So just do something different.
So, Captain, this is actually a question that was brought up. So the Durham Bulls actually would love for a major league team to come to Raleigh. There would have to be some logistics worked out because there is a minor league rule that they can't be within like 39 miles. It's some random distance.
Some bizarro rule they've had in the books forever.
Yeah. Because they were going to put a minor league team in Raleigh, but it was too close to Durham. So they had to move them out to Zebulon, which that probably means nothing to you, but it's about a half hour outside of Raleigh.
It sounds like something you'd see like in Star Wars.
Right. But the Durham Bulls were
Galaxy.
on board. So the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, the hockey team that's in Raleigh, was all about bringing an expansion team to Raleigh. And he's trying to get the group together to bring them in. They have the space for it. And the Durham Bulls, they asked the Durham Bulls and they're like, yeah, absolutely. And at the time, like with the talks of Tampa going on, they were like, why not move the Rays here? Because the Durham Bulls are the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. So it would be a logistical move for them. So it's like, oh, hey, we need your second baseman for today's game. All right, he'll be there in 10 minutes. So
how convenient.
Right. So at that point, I don't know if MLB would ever let that happen. But I think that's one of the biggest hurdles is the Durham Bulls is such a historic minor league franchise, and I completely get it. But there has been talks, and everybody seems to be on board. They want to bring a professional baseball team to North Carolina. We have hockey, we have football, we have basketball. Baseball's the only thing we're missing. Yes, we have 20 minor league teams here, but we don't
colleges too.
Right. But we don't have the professional baseball.
Yep.
The Raleigh market's just booming. It's insane. You have Charlotte. I really don't want it to go to Charlotte. That's where basketball and football are. I would really love it to be 2 and 2, like hockey and baseball, basketball and football, and just kind of split the state. And people will go either way, right? They'll drive to sporting events like that.
Yep.
It would be incredible.
Yeah. And John, a good point. You're not a fan of moving. Oh, sorry. So John, good point. Not a fan of moving teams. And this has been going on for a while. Orlando's wanted the team for a while. The Rays have been having problems in Tampa for a while. And this would also allow Sternberg to not have to sell the whole team. He could sell the controlling stake, keep ownership of a piece of the team, let it go to Orlando. He's not the bad guy anymore. But he can still stay involved if he wants to, or he can sell the whole team. But at least it allows Sternberg to not have to sell the entire team if he really doesn't want to get out. He can just sell the majority interest and then hang back and stay part of it.
Now, the other interesting part in this, and we were talking about Forrest, and you guys will get to meet Forrest some more as he becomes more of a regular on the show, is he threw out the question. He's like, are we about to see a whole bunch of teams possibly move here in the next, 5 to 15 years? Because we have been on the show talking about stadiums are starting to get older. They're costing too much money to renovate. We've talked about Chase Field in Arizona. We've talked about whatever it is in Milwaukee now, All-American Ballpark, or it's not Miller Park.
Great American.
Or some, no, that's Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. It's the something Family Field, right?
It's All-American Family Field or something like whatever. So there are ballparks that are old enough where they're starting to fail. They're not living up to code. And the counties are like, oh, well, the owners are on the hook for it. And the owners are like, no, wait, this is county owned. You're on the hook for it. So there's a lot of back and forth and political stuff. Could we see a whole bunch of franchises move in the next 5 to 15 years? Possibly. I mean, we possibly could. Like, it's going to turn into a political battle at some point, and we're already starting to see that. I mean, we saw it with the A's, right? I mean, that was an absolute mess. But there's other cities where that's coming to fruition. I mean, Tampa Bay is going through it, right? The mayor's pointing fingers at the owner. The owner's like, it's not my fault. It was the weather. So, like, there's already that back and forth, and that's 2 teams. Yep. There could be more. So
yeah, and I think the other thing in all this too is yes, you've got a bunch of ballparks that are aging out, and decisions have to be made about, do you repair, do you build new, do you have to move? But also, if MLB doesn't get their arms around this payroll, revenue, salary cap, whatever you want to call it, situation, there's going to be owners that are going to be like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Like if I'm the Colorado Rockies owner, and I'm in one of the smallest markets in all of baseball, yeah, if I was a better team, I'd draw more people, but I'm never going to make the money in my market that the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Yankees will make. I'll never be able to reach that level of revenue. So why would I stay here? Why would I not go find a different market? Or why would I not sell it and let somebody else go do that? I think there's also an economic aspect to this too, where teams are going to look around and go, I could make more money over there. I'm going to move over there. I don't want to be in this market anymore because I'll never make enough money to compete. And that's an issue that MLB is going to be staring at here in the near future too, where owners are going to say, fine, you don't want to put a salary cap in, you don't want to fix the economics of this game. I'm just going to move my team to a better market and make more money so I can actually compete.
Yep.
And now my valuation's higher. I win all around.
Yep. Richard, we've also thrown this around too. If they add 2 expansion teams, does MLB go to the NFL format for 4 divisions and 4 teams per league? I think this is a no-brainer. I think they have to. Right. And especially with the balanced schedule that they have now, divisions they still mean something, but they don't carry the same amount of weight as it did. Right. You're not playing the same team 19 times every year. It's down to 12, 13 times a year. I think you would have to go to this format. I think you would have to go 4-4-4-4 in the American and the National League. I think absolutely you go 4 teams, 4 divisions, north, south, east, west, or however you want to name them. Who knows? And then that way, geographically, you could do it as well.
Yeah. So right. MLB actually had proposed a structure a little while back. ESPN and MLB kind of proposed it, where it was exactly that. So, like, for example, you'd have an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference or division, whatever you want to call them. In the East Division, you have like the Red Sox, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Phillies. That would be your East.
Which is crazy.
The North would be the Reds, the Guardians, the Tigers, the Blue Jays. Like you would go to a 2-conference, 4-division alignment, 4 teams in each, just like the NFL.
Yeah.
And it'd be broken down by, you have an East Division, a North Division, a Mid-Atlantic, a Southeast, and then a Midwest, a Southwest, a Pacific Coast, and a West. And then based on where you expand is however you kind of make that work.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look and see how they realigned it though, like some of those divisions are not good.
No, some of those divisions are really not good.
I mean, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minnesota, like eek. Like
yeah.
You're
taking the worst of the 2 central divisions and smashing them together.
Yeah. The West, well, I don't know. I think you would have teams jump from the American to the National League. Now that there's no DH, I don't think it matters. I think they would literally put all the teams into a basket and pull them out geographically, right? So you would have probably be Arizona, San Diego, LA, and LA. Right? That would probably be one division?
Yeah, so you'd have like a West Division of Arizona, LA, San Diego.
Yep.
Pacific Coast Division of Colorado, Vegas, Seattle, San Fran. Yep. Southwest Division would be the Astros, the Royals, the Cardinals, and the Rangers. Midwest would be Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Twins.
Yep.
But that would be the western half of the league.
Right.
In the Southeast, you have the Braves and Marlins.
Rays.
A Nashville expansion team if they were in it. Tampa Bay Rays. Mid-Atlantic would be the Orioles, Pirates, Nationals. That'd be a wretched division.
Who would be the fourth team there?
It would be if there's an expansion team, they have to shift it around.
Oh, right.
So in this example, they used a Charlotte and a Nashville expansion team, but they also flagged the fact that the alignment would change if it was Portland, Montreal, Salt Lake City. Like obviously, this is just one scenario with these two markets picked.
Yep.
But realignment would look different if you had a team out west.
Right. Which I think the MLB would want, right? Wouldn't you want to put one on the west, put one on the east? You wouldn't want to load. You wouldn't want to do Charlotte and Nashville, right? Wouldn't you want to do like a Vancouver and a Charlotte, or a Vancouver and a?
I mean, in a perfect world, yes. In a perfect world, yes. But the sad part is that the markets out west are generally much smaller than the ones on the east.
Yeah.
And therefore, you want to go where the people are. Like Ariel once said, I want to be where the people are. And we're seeing that in Colorado. We're seeing that in other markets where they're just small, and they can't do any better than they're doing in that market.
Yeah, it's fair.
But I mean, ideally, no. Do you want to smash two more teams on the East Coast? No. I think you'd want to put one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But I guess you got to go where the offers are the best and the opportunity is the best.
Well, that's what it all comes down to money. What city can offer us the best package, and that's where we're going to go.
Yeah. And there's also talk about taking the season down to like 150 games, 154 games like it once was, because they've added playoff games. So take out regular season games. There's a lot to figure out in 4 years.
Yeah. As much as I think expansion would be exciting, and to have an expansion draft and all of that stuff, especially with this young talent coming up, I think an expansion draft would be electric. I just don't see this getting done by the time Rob Manfred wants to hang him up. We've talked about this numerous times. He's got way too much on his plate for this to happen. I mean, he's got to get the A's deal done. He's got the CBA expiring at the end of 2026. He's got to find two teams their homes. I don't know. And who knows what happens with these stadiums that are falling apart between now and 2029. I think this is going to be put on the back burner a little bit, unless the talent it gets to the point where the talent is bursting at the seams and there's no roster spots for them. I think that's the only way that they kind of speed up expansion. But I just feel like the next hurdle is a 2026 CBA. Sorry, I was kind of all over the place right there in that whole sentence, but I think that's the next thing on his plate, that the biggest hurdle he has to clear next.
You've got to get this Vegas deal done. You got to find the Rays a home. You got to get through the CBA in 2026. If you can clear those hurdles, okay, now maybe you can think about expansion. But if you're looking at a prolonged lockout, and like, you're going to have a tough time making that work. And I do think the intent was not to have expansion in place for 29, but basically figured out. So it's not like you're going to see teams in 29, probably see them in like 32.
Yeah.
But they want to make the decision in 2029 because that's when Manfred steps away.
Yeah. No, we haven't really talked about the standout cities to us. I mean, we have, I think, in a couple weeks past, or a couple months. This is a topic we've kind of thrown around, quite a bit here and there. Montreal and Mexico City would be interesting for sure.
I'm a huge fan of bringing baseball back to Montreal and doing it right this time. Mexico City, I think we saw the Padres and who they play down there. It was worse than Colorado. I mean,
it was a home run derby.
Balls were flying. I mean, you'd have to do it right. And I think given Mexico City's elevation and all that, I think there's people that have like health concerns about having a team there for very long. I think I'd love to see Montreal. I don't know about Mexico City. And also given the fact that Mexico is such a volatile environment, you might have a tough time getting somebody to buy in on baseball down there, but that market's huge. So it probably, I mean, if the peso exchange rate gets better, it might make sense.
The Mexico City series was ridiculous because it was like, oh, pop up the second base and it's carrying and it's carrying and it's gone.
It was like backyard wiffle ball, man. It was wild.
I mean, I've like I said, this is such a homer pick. I love Raleigh, but I think realistically, I think it's Salt Lake City, right? They have the hockey team there. They have the Jazz there. They're trying to build up that whole sports complex there. I think Salt Lake City is a front runner for sure. East Coast, the Nashville team or group just seems to be coming in and out, in and out.
Well, and Mattingly's walked away from it, so I think they're kind of on their own now.
Yes, but it was the Nashville Sounds as like a nod to the Negro League teams.
Yep.
So I think for me, I think the front runners right now are Salt Lake City and Nashville for expansion teams. The cities I would like to see them in, I would have to lean towards. I would have to say Raleigh and Portland, maybe. I think would be the two teams I would want them, but I see them being Salt Lake City and Nashville.
Yeah. I think the cities in contention are going to be Portland, Oregon, Salt Lake City. Vancouver at one point made mention of being interested, then they kind of faded away. Oklahoma City came up, but I don't think they're big enough. Nashville, Charlotte, Montreal, were kind of all I think were the major ones mentioned. At one point, Louisville got brought up, but it's not big enough.
No.
So I think that's what you're looking at. I agree with Nick. I think they're going to try to do one East, one West. I feel like Portland and Salt Lake are probably neck and neck. They both have the same hurdles to clear. They need ballparks. They need space. They need owners. Like they need everything. You know, they're ready for it. Like the city's ready for it, but they need to put all the pieces together. Orlando to me has become a front runner if they don't get the Rays. If they get the Rays, obviously they're out at that point.
And I think they are. I think with everything that's happened with the Rays, I think it's absolutely, or the Rays are going to Orlando here sooner rather than later. New Orleans would be an interesting one for sure. I don't know what the market for baseball would be down there, but New Orleans would be an interesting spot.
Yeah. New Orleans has not come up because they don't have the space. And they've got all the issues with flooding down there. They're below sea level. I think that New Orleans has kind of fallen off the map for expansion because I don't think you find an ownership group that wants to invest there given where it's at.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think you've got good markets to pick from. Between Portland and Salt Lake and Nashville and Charlotte and Orlando, like you've got, I'd love to see Montreal be in play.
Yeah. A team in Alaska, the Igloos. Don't hate it.
I mean, you put it in a dome, it wouldn't matter. You could just heat it.
I mean, you would have to play in a dome, right? If you're the Igloos, you have to play in a dome. And if your dome doesn't look like an igloo, you've lost out.
Yeah, you could totally have fun with that. I mean, the problem is the population of Alaska, the whole state, 740,000 people.
Yeah.
You would not be, and they're kind of scattered.
Yeah.
They're mostly in that little sliver that runs along the coast, but you'd have a tough time supporting a ball club with that level of population. But it would be fun as hell to see somebody actually build an igloo shaped dome stadium down there.
Right. See, Scott, I'm with you 100% here. It's Salt Lake, Portland, Nashville, and Charlotte for sure.
Agreed.
San Antonio has been brought up. That's an interesting one. Well, Dallas already has the Texas Rangers. I mean, yes, it's not technically Dallas,
Arlington.
It's Dallas.
They're considered part of the Dallas Metroplex.
The Dallas Cowboys play next door to the Texas Rangers, so it's Dallas.
Yep.
And I was at that ballpark last April. It's immaculate. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
But yeah, so it wouldn't be Dallas. It would be San Antonio for sure. And we have heard that name brought up as well. Some
other ones that got brought up: San Antonio, Austin, Sacramento. Sacramento's getting to test baseball these next 3 years. Vegas was on the list years ago, but obviously that's going to be solved if the A's end up there.
Yeah.
So, and the other dark horse in all this is, will a team consider going back out to the Bay Area of Oakland? Would you potentially backfill Oakland?
Yeah, I don't know. I I don't know. I don't think I would. I mean, with all the, just kind of the political fallout that happened, and I know the A's owner was a big part of that. Um, I just don't know if a team would just like backfill it in 4 years. Be like, all right, let's go back to Oakland.
Well,
Um,
and maybe it's not Oakland. Maybe you end up in some other kind of in that area. But
yeah,
and yeah, so Arlington is smack dab between Fort Worth and Dallas. Like it sits right in the middle of the two, but it's all part of that Dallas Fort Worth metroplex.
yeah,
All considered the same area.
yeah, yeah. I hope San Antonio would be good. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, San
yeah,
Antonio would be interesting. It's certainly an area that's growing. The Austin, Texas has exploded, but that's I don't think it's a baseball market. That's become a like the next Silicon Valley type market.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely enough cities that will vie for it.
You're not lying, John.
Yeah.
Oakland will never be that owner friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sacramento's a long shot too. Like, I agree with you. Like, you're laughing, but
I don't.
It's but Vancouver and Montreal. That's interesting point, John. I don't know. You have three Canadian teams up there. I don't know.
I think
I don't know if that's where MLB would want to expand when there's gaps in markets here, if that makes any sense.
yeah, and I think we're seeing with the Blue Jays lately where it is challenging to get players to want to go over the border and play in Canada. I think that you've seen a lot of players who've looked at that and kind of gone, nah. It creates a lot of complications for players to have to go to Canada to play permanently. Like if you're going to go sign a contract with the Blue Jays, it creates a lot of complexity for players that they don't want. So I think more. I'd love to see Montreal be a legitimate player because that market is massive. It's the biggest market on the whole list. But being in Canada creates some complications that MLB may try to avoid. There's even talk about do they consider moving the Blue Jays out of Toronto at some point? Because it may get to the point where you just can't make that work.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been to Vancouver. I haven't been to the West Coast at all, actually. Denver's the furthest west I've ever been. But
I've been to Seattle and it is beautiful. Vancouver is pretty close, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm back here with Scott saying that it's the front runners are Portland, Salt Lake City on the West Coast, and then Nashville, Charlotte, North Carolina over here.
Assuming that the Orlando Dreamers are the Tampa Bay Rays become the Orlando Dreamers.
Yes, as of right now, Orlando's head and shoulders above anybody else on the East Coast.
Yeah, they are the most ready to go.
But I think for sure that they get the Rays.
Vancouver's the Chicago of Canada. Now, is that a slam on Chicago, or is that like a compliments to Vancouver? Because I've been to Chicago and I would not rush back.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces. It would be interesting to see because we have seen stadium renderings come out. Portland dropped one, Orlando's dropped one. Vegas before all that started happening, they had dropped one.
Well, and Portland's been gearing up for the last few years. Like they've got the old bond, they got the old bonding package they put together that they've dusted off and brought back forward. They hired a new finance director for the city who has experience in this area, specifically to try to help put a package together to bring a team in. They've identified sites. They just don't have like an ownership group and all that figured out yet. But if they are a legitimate contender, I'm sure they'll find somebody.
Yeah. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see what happens I'm
in both Vancouver, hands down. Fair enough.
It will be interesting to see what other cities kind of come out with renderings in the next, couple of years. But
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of runway here, but you definitely have Salt Lake City's further ahead. They've got that whole complex they're building downtown to support baseball as well as hockey. Orlando's way down the road. Charlotte already has most of the infrastructure in place from the Panthers. Nashville's
sort of.
Yeah, I mean Nashville's putting it all together. Portland's still planning it. Like you've got a lot that are much farther down the road. You've got some that are like really close and some that are at least making progress. But there's still a lot of time.
With Charlotte, they also have the Charlotte Knights, which you're starting to run into the same thing with the Durham Bulls. So the Charlotte Knights are the AAA affiliate of the White Sox.
That's right.
And their stadium is incredible. It sinks down into the city with the Charlotte skyline behind it. It's gorgeous. It would be awesome backdrop for an MLB team, but then you got to move the Charlotte Knights or, come up with some plan there. That's why I kind of think Raleigh is a front runner over Charlotte because you don't have to move any team. Like there's no baseball in the city of Raleigh and they have the space for it near the Hurricanes.
Yeah. Raleigh should just send you to the league office to argue for our expansion team.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll march right down.
Sit down with Mr. Manfred and be like, Rob, look, here's what we're doing. Like, I need you to get on board.
Yep.
Here's your talking points. Go to the microphone, make an announcement.
I'll go to Home Depot and just grab some of the supplies. It won't be much. I don't have much in the bank, but I'll
pour the first gallon of concrete.
Yeah. But I got to check my account first, make sure I can buy that gallon of concrete.
Yeah, and I'll borrow a shovel so I can throw it down.
Yeah, right.
And John, I think you're right. Utah is ahead because they had to build out the infrastructure and master plan the site for hockey. So they've already been thinking about this for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they've designed it, they've left a spot in the overall master plan of that kind of revitalized area to drop a ballpark. They just need there to be a team to put there.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of spots. It will be interesting to see what kind of plays out here. But like I said, you got to have the A's landed and you got to have the Rays landed. If those two aren't landed, expansion isn't even a thought. You got to get them. No, you got to get them in and settled somewhere before you can even start talking about it. Because a lot of things change. Like you said, if Orlando comes off the map because they now have the Rays, it's back to square one.
Yeah, and then also depending on how the CBA comes out, if there aren't significant changes made to the economic platform of baseball, you may have owners that choose to sell.
Right,
and you could have teams on the market. And it's going to be really hard to attract new ownership groups to want to expand when you've got existing teams on the market.
I know this is not baseball related, but the Celtics selling for $6.1 billion is crazy.
Yep. Wick Grousbeck made a few bucks on that deal.
My God. But I'm bringing that up because like if you have, we'll say 5 teams sell like almost all at once, imagine the money thrown around there. That would be crazy.
And how much it would hurt the valuations, and you can actually kind of go pick and choose.
Right.
I mean, as it stands right now, you've got one team that's kind of actively shopping itself with the Twins.
Yeah.
And you've got another team in the Rays that may or may not become available.
Yeah,
yeah, John, I don't think they're ever going to take the Oklahoma City Bombers as a team name. I don't think it'll ever be. I don't think it's always going to be too soon for that one.
Oh, yikes. Oh, man. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, then.
That took a turn in a hurry.
Well, we won't see you next week because we just got canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, clever name, but there's no way that Oklahoma City would ever take that. And Oklahoma City's been brought up as an expansion site, but I just think, again, that market's not going to be large enough.
Yeah. I mean, they have the Thunder there, but I don't know what they pull. I don't follow the NBA at all.
I don't think they pull a lot.
Yeah. So it would be a tough one. But geographically, it kind of makes sense, right? Like same thing with Salt Lake City. Yep. Like you always see that map, like all the teams are around the edges of the country, and then you just got like the Rockies, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. So as an example, like Oklahoma City's MSA, it's just under 1.5 people, or 1.5 million people.
So that's bigger than Raleigh or Charlotte, I believe, right? Because then we say that was like 1.1, I think.
I think Raleigh was bigger than that, but I think Oklahoma City will be deemed too small.
Oh, Raleigh's at 1.51 as well.
Yeah. And I think the only thing the benefit you have in Raleigh is you've got all that South Carolina traffic that could come
Yeah.
come over, like you can pull from a farther area.
And Charlotte's 2.4. So market wise, Charlotte makes sense.
Yeah,
But,
and then you got Orlando that's almost 3 million.
oh, and then you have so you do have a AAA team.
Oh,
in
that's right,
Oklahoma
you do.
City.
Yep.
So I think with almost all of these cities, you're going to run into that issue at some point.
If you look at the way they've set it up, like most of your major league teams are in your kind of AAA best rated biggest markets, and then a lot of your second tier markets ended up with minor league teams. That's why they dropped all the AAA teams, because you still want to be able to draw to make money for AAA, so you still need a good sized market. So I think as MLB kind of digs down into these second tier markets, you're going to run into a ton of AAA teams that are already sitting there.
Yeah. Which runs into its own set of issues. Right.
Now you're just creating complication for minor league teams, and now you're looking to have to make somebody move, or put the move just outside the city limits or something like that, which is not ideal either.
So I mean, to me, that just screams that it's Salt Lake City and Nashville then, right?
Because you don't have the conflicts.
Does Nashville have a AAA team?
Nashville, yeah, they do. Didn't they just build a new ballpark down there?
Then Nashville Sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
They just built. I'm pretty sure they just built them a beautiful new ballpark. Oh, I guess it's 9 years old now. So.
Okay. But.
Yeah, that's the AAA affiliate of the Brewers. They sit right in Nashville. So, they're going to run into this everywhere they go. At this point, like you're down into the second tier where it's a ton of AAA teams.
Yeah. Orlando doesn't have a AAA team or minor league baseball, right? They got nothing.
Correct.
I don't think they do. So ideally, but I mean, Salt Lake City does too, though. Don't they have the Bees? Yeah, Salt Lake City Bees. They're the AAA for the Angels. So no matter what city you go to, like you said,
yeah, you're gonna run into this.
Yeah, the Midwest is full of them. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando is the only market at this point that's clean, that you don't have a conflict.
Yeah.
Everybody else has a conflict.
Yeah.
Or they're just gonna have to waive that rule for an expansion market.
Yeah. But that's funny. Yeah. Man. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an interesting one, and it's fun to dive into it and give all the hypotheticals and where we would want to, but I just overall I don't know if it gets done. I mean, unless Manfred says, "Hey, I'm not going to hang it up until the expansion gets done," which is also a possibility, but he's also come out and said, "I want to be done by 2029."
Yep.
Whether he actually leaves in 2029 or not is a different story.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like a hard and fast date where he has to. Like he can hang out. Yeah, and you're right. There's Portland's another market that's clean. You don't have any conflicts.
Yeah.
Yes. And, the challenge in Florida is you've got a bazillion spring training sites. Like they just dot the map. So, right. Mostly in kind of smaller towns, but still, markets like Haines City and stuff like that. But it's MLB is now moving out of your top tier markets into second tier markets. You're going to run into minor league problems everywhere.
Now, is there another city in the country that could possibly double up, like New York or Chicago? Or I mean, you could even say Baltimore and Washington, right? I mean, they're
splitting the area. I don't think you've got any other. I mean, LA's already got 2 in there also.
Well, sort of.
I mean, Anaheim is LA-ish, but I don't think there's any other markets you could do that with. I mean, you look at your big markets.
Atlanta.
Atlanta's actually not as big a market as you think. it's just a super strong fan base. So
And
the
congested as hell down there
it's
too.
brutal down there.
Oh my God,
So
so bad.
the Atlanta market is about 6 million people. It is the sixth largest metro in the US, but it is such a hot mess of things inside of Atlanta. You got tons, Coca-Cola's down there. That's the busiest airport in the whole country. It's a disaster to get in and out of that place. Um, if you're going to go to Atlanta, you'd have to probably go outside of Atlanta, like a Lawrenceville or somewhere, because you there's nowhere left in Atlanta to put anything.
Yeah. Philly?
I mean, the hard part is New York City is so close too.
Yeah,
Philly's the same size of Atlanta, about 6 million.
the thing with Philly, though, that would be interesting is where you would put that ballpark because they have that sports complex down there where
Right.
the Sixers, the Eagles, the Flyers, and the Phillies are all legit right there. Would you put another baseball field there? I don't know. I mean, I think they have the room for it, but because I mean, I was down there up there this spring or summer to go to the Phillies game, and they have a lot of land there. Whether they put a second ballpark like really right across the street from the Phillies, I don't know if they do that.
Well, yeah, and the issue is you've got New York City right nearby. You've got Pittsburgh across the state. So could you come out of Philly a little bit and drop a team? Do you go to because then you're bumping up against the edge of Jersey too. Like it's a weird spot. Philadelphia's in a weird spot where it's just like wedged in there, surrounded by these other places. I mean, you could argue that maybe a team on the south side of like south out of Philly, where you could also pull from New Jersey might make sense. Do you go into New Jersey and pull people back from Pennsylvania? It's really hard because you've got so much density in the Northeast. Like Boston's 5 million, Philly's 6 million, New York is gigantic. And the hard part is a lot of these cities like Philly, Boston, New York, like they're out of room. There's nowhere to drop another sports complex.
Yeah, that's a built-in doubleheader for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean Atlanta, John has the size to probably do it, but it's probably not quite because if you split a 6 million person market with an entrenched team like Atlanta, how many people are really going to adopt a new team? Those are hard because those are markets they've been in a long time.
So what about Dallas? They have 7.6 million.
I mean, maybe you could go into Dallas or go onto the northern side of Dallas and get a little bit further from Arlington. I think if you're going to do that, you might as well go to like a San Antonio and try to draw from the other side of Fort Worth. But yeah, John, I've been to Atlanta. Another city I will not rush back to. It's beautiful. It is chaos. Like it is the infrastructure is so overwhelmed. The city is so overbuilt. It is brutal to get around down there. That airport is a hot mess. Crazy. Oh yeah, hey, Just Minx. Yeah, we're usually Sunday nights, Thursday nights.
I was just typing that all out, but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Sunday night, Thursday nights, and then sometimes we come on for like a live watch party. So like Harrison and I stupidly probably got up really early Tuesday morning and watched the Japan game. So we streamed, and there was some people that came on with us and talked some baseball. So yeah, there's sometimes we just kind of pop up live and watch some games and just shoot the ball. So we're on quite a bit.
Here's one for you, Nick, and we kicked this one around a couple months ago. What about putting a team like in the Dominican? I mean, there's 11 million people down there. Obviously, economics wise, that's probably a challenging market to make any money. 11 million people and a insane amount of country pride and baseball love because that's what all these kids do.
Yeah, I get all that, but I don't know what the like political side of the DR looks like. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that would be stable enough for the MLB.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Like,
the
does that make
Dominicans.
sense?
Yeah, no, I mean the Dominican is certainly on the way up. It's improving. That it's seen growth. It's seen income growth. It's seen more people coming out of poverty. But it's still a mostly impoverished country. It's got it's still not a great country in terms of human rights and things like that. They still have a lot of challenges. They've got an unstable political system. So you'd be buying into a bit of a nightmare. Um, but you want to talk about a market that's massive that absolutely loves baseball. The DR would be it. Puerto Rico, 3 million people in Puerto
I
Rico.
was I
Yeah.
was just gonna bring them. I literally just typed that in to see
Yeah.
their population.
There's 3 million people in Puerto Rico. I mean, you could probably make Puerto Rico work. The problem is you can't pull from anywhere else. So you've got 3 million and only 3 million. It's not like people can drive to Puerto Rico from anywhere.
No, but you would have, I mean, probably not a ton of fans, but you would, like me and you would make that a destination game to go to.
Well,
right?
and
For sure.
you're not competing against any other sports because there ain't nothing there.
Right.
Like there's nothing there. And at least in Puerto Rico, you're still underneath the American government, US dollar, low tax. The problem is it's a super low tax jurisdiction. Players would be running to sign there. Because their income tax is like 4%.
It would be, yeah.
So that's a lot of your super, like your ultra high net worth people are now living in Puerto Rico. They've left the States and they live in Puerto Rico because the income tax rate is like 4%. It's stupid low.
Yeah.
But you're still in the American government, so you've got that protection.
And I know they love their baseball there, and I'm not trying to slight that in any way, shape, or form. But after year 2, after year 3, when the teams become quote unquote old news, what does it look like? I know they're wild about baseball there.
There.
But when a team's there for so long, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you go to the Red Sox games, like, oh, so excited. And then after you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm just kind of going to another Red Sox game. Does it turn into that in Puerto Rico? And then you don't have a way for other people to drive to the game because it's literally out on an island.
Love the plan, John. When you win the lotto, you should go down there and buy a castle. I love it.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Puerto Rico is you have a lot of people that are not full-time residents. They're not there all the time. They're ultra high net worth and they're just kind of there hiding and hanging out. A lot of entrepreneurs that probably aren't thinking about going to catch a baseball game on a Thursday night. I'm sure you could do a study down there to figure out what level of acceptance you get for baseball. You've only got 30,000 seats to sell out. 81 times a year.
Yeah.
Could you do it? Yeah. I mean, the DR at being 11 million fans and on the way up is probably a better bet for the future, but certainly more challenging now.
Yeah, I agree.
And then could you imagine, hey, John, could you imagine the Seattle Mariners traveling to the Dominican Republic for a series?
Sure.
It'd be a shorter trip to go to friggin' Japan, I think, than it would be to go to the DR.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
Yeah, they'd have to do like a hell of an East Coast trip. It's when you go down it's when you hit the 2 teams in Florida, then you drop down there and you come back up and finish off like, up the East Coast and then eventually go home. But that'd be a nightmare for travel.
Yeah.
So would Puerto Rico. It'd be a nightmare for travel too.
Yep. Yeah, agree.
But I mean, I think there are markets that if MLB wanted to get creative, there are other markets they could check out. I don't think MLB wants to get creative. They want to find sound options.
Yeah, and I don't think the MLB is going to have to do much courting on their own. You know what I mean? There's going to be cities that are going to, give everything they have to pull baseball into their city.
Totally.
So the MLB is just pretty much going to have to sit back, relax, and let the cities come to them, and they already have. So.
Yeah, cities are going to come to them with a proposal. Here's what we can do. Here's all the numbers that back it up. Please vote for us.
Yeah.
And let it happen.
London's also a great point, but again, it's a traveling and it's a time change nightmare, I think.
Yep.
It's not like the NFL where you could actually put a team over there playing once a week.
Yep.
With the MLB schedule being as it is, if your home team is in London, their travel schedule is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Jet lag and all that
You'd
stuff.
have to have multiple teams in Europe to make it work, because then you could take a longer road trip. But I I think MLB is going to limit international expansion unless they can do it in a large way. But like, why? Why would you leave the U.S. when and introduce all these new aspects that you've never had to deal with these crazy international travel hours and trips you got to make? Different laws. You've got owners in significantly different time zones. It's a different money, different type of currency even being used. Like, how do you? I think that'd be a nightmare that MLB doesn't want. But I think it'd be cool to have some teams overseas.
It would be awesome. It would be great.
I mean, look at 25 million Japanese fans watch the Tokyo series.
Yeah.
Don't tell me for a minute you couldn't park 2 or 3 Major League Baseball teams in Japan right now.
No, just one, just the Dodgers. We can put them over there.
Yeah. Are they staying or just playing the regular season there?
Yeah, I think so. That's fine. They can stay over there.
Yep. But I mean, 25 million Japanese fans watched. I mean, that's a market that would kill for more baseball.
And that's not even talking about the guys that, or the people that watched over here. That was just Japanese viewers.
Just Japanese viewers. Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's baseball, not cricket. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
cricket, footy. Got to play your football.
Rounders, whatever it's called over here.
Whatever.
But yeah,
it's going to be interesting next few years as MLB tries to get these issues settled and move towards expansion. What they're left with.
Because I think MLB does need to expand, right? I mean, we have talked about this, a lot lately. The amount of young talent coming up and not getting a shot at the MLB because there's no spots for them. I mean, look at the Red Sox right now as an example. We have 3 guys, possibly 4, bursting at the seams, and there's possibly not a roster spot for them. So they got to start in AAA. If there's expansion teams, that's 50 more spots for prospects around the league to land. It's worth a look for sure. And the kids that are coming year after year after year, like the classes just seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger of guys with immense talent. So I think it is something that has to be done. It's just where everything kind of falls into place. That's obviously the biggest part of the puzzle.
Yeah, there's always the balancing act of, more teams opens more spots, but does it, at what point do you dilute? And does the quality of the game begin to decline? Right. You could argue that as much good young talent there's still a lot of guys on major league rosters that don't really belong there. Not to pick on teams like the Marlins and the Rockies, but if those guys were if you took the Rockies team and they're all free agents tomorrow, how many of those guys don't get signed?
Quite a bit.
Probably quite a few. So I think that there's still always that balancing act of not going too far and diluting the game.
That's fair. Absolute fair. So, all right. Do you have anything else? That was an awesome tangent to get on. You guys were incredible in the chat. That was awesome.
This Thursday night show is designed to be that. We want to come out with some news and updates, but we really want to just kind of talk about what's going on and get chat involved and see where your head's at. So this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, yes. It's absolutely this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why we're also seeing an uptick in Tommy Johns. Like these kids have a lot of mileage on their arms already. And, they get to the major leagues and their arms like, hey, dude, you've already thrown 10,000 pitches in your career. You're 19. Like, I know they have a lot of rules in place for the youth now, which is great. They didn't when I was there. It was like, hey, you could throw 7 innings a week. But I mean, in those 7 innings, I could throw 500 pitches.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
But with the pitch counts and stuff, like they're trying to get that under control. But that's why you're seeing the uptick in Tommy Johns. These kids are playing on 4 or 5 different travel teams at once. Yep. They pitch for this team, but they can go pitch for that team or, vice versa.
And these kids are absolutely throwing breaking balls at 9, 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And, when we were kids, did we throw a breaking ball at 9, 10, or 11? Yeah, it was basically like a slow pitch that we called a curveball. We weren't snapping anything off.
No.
But these young kids, like they are actually throwing. I mean, watch the Little League World Series. Those kids are throwing like legitimate curveballs and sliders.
Yeah, they're also throwing 80 miles an hour at 12 years old.
Well,
That's
yeah, there's
silly.
that too. And you're also seeing beginning to see this wave of kids that are like getting like proactive Tommy John. Like they're electing to go get their arms operated on before they're hurt. Almost like, okay, like it's like changing your tires. Like, okay, put enough miles on this tendon. Let's go get a new one.
Yeah.
It's Nick. I think you've called an oil change in the past, Nick.
It's an oil change.
That's what it's become. It's become like routine maintenance on your arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Japan, those guys, like, you finish games in Japan, and you will throw a bajillion pitches to do it.
Yep.
Just the way it works.
Yeah. But all right. Well, nothing else.
No, good one tonight though.
Yeah, this was awesome. Again, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are incredible. Like I said, as we go on, Thursdays are going to be kind of our free form. If there's a hot topic going around in the league, definitely throw it in the chat. We'll talk about it. But absolutely awesome show. And it's because of you guys. So we appreciate it.
I love it.
Yeah. Makes it easy for us to talk when you guys are firing stuff back and love talking baseball with y'all. So we will be on Sunday at 9 p.m. after the Rounding Third Boston show. So come back at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go over some news from the weekend. Don't know if a lot's going to happen. Maybe it will be more trivia based on Sunday and with a little bit of, there might be signings or little ones here or there, but
we're so close to baseball for real though.
So close. It's painful. It's like 1 week away. One week we'll have games to talk about tonight. 1 week. Man.
Yeah. Well, happy first day of spring, Nick. We're officially out of winter.
Oh yeah.
Not that it matters where you live, but
yeah. But yeah. 6 p.m. Western time. That's right. So having dinner with your family, pull up the show. That's fine.
Yeah, and join us at 8:00 as we talk Boston. Even if you don't like the Red Sox, still talk some baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see y'all then. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. And we'll see y'all Sunday.